Hey, what is up, guys? It's Double Winning, and honestly, it feels like it's been forever since I've recorded a gameplay commentary for YouTube, and then I kind of realized, well, it kind of has been forever since I've recorded a gameplay commentary for just YouTube. So I thank you guys for being so patient with me. I know I've been uploading a lot of stuff for my stream, but it's just, I wish I could just upload stuff all the time for my stream, but I do understand a lot of you guys like kind of these, purely YouTube-based commentaries, so I am going to be trying to do some more of those. In particular, I really liked this game. I did play this game on stream, but I'm not uploading the stream game of it. I'm uploading, I'm recording a commentary for it. So hopefully you guys like it. If you do, be sure to leave a like rating, comment what you think below, and if you're new here, you can go ahead and subscribe. And then if you really like the video, you can go ahead and share it, through Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, wherever you want to share it. I don't really mind. All the love is much appreciated. So first off here, let me go ahead and get the Fog of War here. So I understand that there's a bug with the minimap, and some of the structures show that they're gone when they're not really. I apologize for that, but luckily you can see here both of the Nexuses are missing their Nexus turrets if you pay attention to that kind of thing. So luckily it doesn't give away the ending to this game too much, I guess. But whatever. So this was a game I really liked because I think I played particularly well in it, especially toward the late game. Right here, this was kind of an early game decision I made, where Lee Sin kind of got caught out in the jungle. He ended up getting first blooded. I got a nice little E flash there, which is a little technique you can do on Fizz. If you don't know how to do it, you E, and then about 0.75 seconds into your E, you can use skills. Fun little fact. The skill itself is 1.5 seconds long, so the first half is 0.75, so that's like the playful, and then you'll either drop down and you'll have the higher AoE and slow part of it, or you can reactivate it, and you'll have a smaller AoE and you won't have the slow on top of it. So in that half-second mark, when you're about to come down, you can use things like flash, you could be damaged, you can use things like Zonias and things like that, because you're no longer untargetable during that stage, so you can also take damage. So that's why sometimes it looks like you're being hit when you're during your playful trickster, when in reality you're coming down from your playful trickster, so you're not invulnerable anymore. I can even show you guys, like right here. So Fizz hops towards your cursor onto his spear, becoming untargetable, and slams the ground, dealing, blah, blah, blah. And then reactivating this ability while Fizz is on top of it, his pole causes, him to jump again, and there's no slow in that text if you read that. So overall, the skill is 1.5 seconds long. That's just something you can find out by just, playing Fizz or looking it up on the Wikia. I'm like 95% positive. Maybe I'm wrong on the timing a little bit, but it comes with just playing Fizz. So another reason I really like this game is because Akali is actually kind of a tougher matchup for me as a Fizz player, just because she doesn't have mana. So you can't, a lot of Fizz matchups, what it comes down to is, especially when you're starting Flask on Fizz, is trading your health and mana for their health, or not for their health, for their mana. So like when you go against champions like Ziggs and I'm trying to think of I can't really think of them off the top of my head, but Ziggs is probably the one I think of most when I think of or even Lux or someone like that. Or Rise. So those are probably like three examples I can think of off the top of my head. I know you won't see a lot of Luxes in mid, but she was a pretty good example there. So a lot of times you have to trade your health for their mana, and then once their mana is low, that's when you can go in to try and make plays on them. When you go against an energy champion like Akali, you don't have that option, because she'll always have energy as long as she waits, 5-6 seconds to get her energy back, as well as she has constant harass, and her damage isn't in like a single spell burst, which Fizz takes advantage of, because he can dodge those things with this E. So if a champion's all of their damage is on one particular skill, then Fizz can focus on dodging with the E and then going into trade. With Akali, she throws her little her Q, and then you can dodge it with your E, which you should, early on, and then try and land the E on her and then do damage. But if you dodge the Q, then she can just not engage on you. It's not like there's much like, it's like, oh man, I missed my Q, now I can't, you know, fight this Fizz. It's just, okay, well, I'll wait until next time because my Q has a way lower cooldown. He's used, you know, 100 mana or so to use the E, and now I can, you know, continue. So Akali is a pretty tough matchup for Fizz. However, one advantage you do have is that her stealth is nullified by if you hit a shark on her. And if she uses her shroud, it's pretty easy to see, like it's pretty easy to hit the shark on the shroud because, you know, the shark takes up about, you know, 75% of the shroud, especially if you throw it down, you know, immediately. You have a general idea where she is. There's not a whole lot of chance she's going to be dodging it if you're, you know, have some general accuracy with your fish. Another really nice thing about this matchup, which, well, it's kind of a double-edged sword, is the fact that both champions generally build pretty offensively. You know, some Akalis can build, you know, like some of them will go things like Zhonya's first, and but rarely are you going to see like an Akali go like an Abyssal or something like that first. So they might buy a Negatron, and so you know, I totally would. A Negatron would be totally fine, but in general, the Akali is going to build pretty offensive, so you always kind of have that outplay potential, as well as, you know, if you can get a snowball lead as Fizz, you can just kind of kill them over and over and over once you've secured that snowball. So that's kind of what you're looking for in this matchup, is that because there's no real way for her to escape, and then as long as you're buying pink wards, you'll be able to, like you can see I have a pink ward in my inventory because I know, okay, maybe I should try and go all in on her pretty soon here because I've got my Shark, I've got my Ignite, you know, and then of course we also have a Lee Sin as a jungler, which, you know, excels against Akali because his E reveals Akali, his Q reveals Akali, he has lots of mobility, so she can't really get away, and, you know, etc, etc. You know, once you've kind of, you know, secured your dominance on Akali, you can really just kill her over and over and over. And it's kind of a nice matchup because with Akali, you know, if she, you know, if you can get a lot of free kills on her, she's not really a safe farmer. You can see like right there, while the shark was on her, I was able to get vision, and then she flashes away, which is her only mobility, besides, you know, her ult. But unless she's ulting backwards to my creeps, which rarely should she be in that kind of position, then there's no real way to her to get away except for flash. So I flash Q'd her and got the kill, you know, starting to snowball my lane here. And then Lee Sin's going to give me blue, which is going to help me out a lot because it kind of puts me in the same position of Akali as kind of this infinite energy resource, because that's pretty much what blue buff does for you. And so I'm going to try my best to snowball this advantage that I got from mid and then blue buff, and I'm going to try and gank bot. It doesn't end up working out, so I just kind of laugh at it a little bit because I plan on going back here anyway, so I'm just kind of laughing and seeing if I can get them to use any extra resources since our AD carry just got back to lane. So if I can get them to use extra resources and stall them from going back, then Caitlyn's going to have a little bit more of a free lane, since if you can see by the CS differential and the kills and deaths, Caitlyn is 40, you know, ish CS to Lucian's 70-ish CS, and she's down 2 kills. So anything to kind of help bot would be really, really good. So on one hand, you know, I could just keep going mid and killing Akali over and over and over. But if Lucian's going to end up having 8 kills by the time I have, you know, my 4th or 5th kill, it's going to be really frustrating if they manage to group and then just win the game off Lucian being incredibly fed. So my goal here is going to be to try and kind of, I can either snowball top or I can either snowball bot lane. I need to try and get another lane rolling. And so what happens there is it's pretty nice that you know, Lee Sin ganked for me, because it's pretty much a guaranteed kill on Akali. I could get the kill solo as well since she has no flash, but with Lee Sin there, it kind of makes so that I don't have to use any of my health, and then I have blue buff, so I don't have to use any of my mana either. You know, of course, because it'll regen to kill the Akali. So this allows me to actually go up to Nasus. And Lee Sin really, really wanted to catch Rengar when he was coming to coming into his jungle, but Nasus was an option that was available right now, and getting a Rise rolling is really, really good. So I go ahead and I dive onto the Nasus, knowing that I can drop the tower aggro with my E, and we get a pretty clean tower dive there, and Lee Sin's able to actually jump in at the last second just so he can get an assist. So that was really, really nice, because when you have when you have something like Rise, you want to get him snowballed, and then Rengar, of course, you know, the little exclamation point shows up, so I jump out of that bush because I don't want to really fight. And then right here we have a 3-on-1 situation, and I know I have my E, so I can dodge any damage that Rengar goes after me. I use my E, so he immediately is like, oh, okay, well then now I can try and kill him. And then the Akali jumps over the wall, so that was pretty good by them, but I was able to get the Shark off, and then Lee Sin throws his Q backwards, and I'm like, what? So they have to struggle a little bit more to kill the Akali. The Akali, you know, is not that important to kill right now. But now they're, you know, 2v1ing the Rengar, and they're chasing him down. He's got blue buff, so it would be kind of cool if they were able to kill him. Lee Sin kind of gets a little aggressive here without Rise really backing him up. Apologize for that. And then at that point, that's when they're kind of like, okay, maybe we can't get this. But then Nasus actually flashes over the wall. Rise uses his ultimate to get the movement speed. Lee Sin starts heading the other way, which I didn't really agree with, unless, you know, he has a ward that he could jump with, but he doesn't, unless he's got a trinket ward. So he doesn't have his trinket ward, so that's kind of a risky play there. I think he should have just stuck with Rise, since you know, that's twice the CC that they could use. But either way, they ended up both getting away, so that was pretty good. And I ended up dying. I had a killing spree, but it was just kind of me getting a little aggressive, using my E aggressively, you know, not really keeping track of where Akali might be, and so she was able to jump over the wall and just kind of blow me up. And so you can see my build. I actually went Fiendish Codex and cooldown boots first, so that was giving me 30% cooldown reduction. My thinking there was that if I want to try and basically manage 2 different lanes, you know, mid and either bot or top, I need to have my Shark. I need to have like my cooldowns up as often as possible, so that I can, you know, use it like in a situation like this, and then, you know, have it up sooner rather than later. So with 30% cooldown reduction, it puts my Shark down at a 70-second cooldown, and then Rengar gets a little, you know, he just underestimates my damage, so I'm able to tower dive him there. So I'm getting pretty snowballed. I'm using all my flask charges here, and if you guys don't know why I start flask, you know, I would watch some of my other Fizz videos. It's just kind of the standard start for about 90% of games. Actually, probably about 95% of games. It used to be Nidalee, you know, AP Nidalee was a pretty prominent, before she got reworked, matchup that you would go against. You'd pick Fizz into, and that was a matchup that you would actually start Doran's ring, because she was so weak early. But now with the rework, she's actually pretty good. And so I get baited out by Pink Ward there, and I get killed. It's kind of just a newbie mistake, but it's really not that big of a deal. It's just, you know, small things like that I can do, that I can really improve on, would really help. I needed to recognize the fact that if bot lane is there doing dragon, and the enemy bot, or if our bot lane is there doing dragon and the enemy bot lane isn't in sight, then you know, pink wards give vision. So like, I need to make sure that I'm either keeping my finger on the E trigger, you know, like being ready to E at all times, or just you know, being a little bit more safe, because my team couldn't respond there. They were all doing dragon, so that was totally my fault. So with 30% cooldown reduction, like I said, it's going to allow me to use E's. It's going to allow me to use more ultimates like this. It's going to allow me to kind of chase down targets. So I actually get an E flash there. Lucian flashes really, like, that was good timing by him. And so I ended up getting obliterated by the enemy team. I just got really greedy there. So it's kind of something that, you know, a pattern I notice with not only myself but other players as well, where you'll have something go wrong. So like in my case, I got hooked by the Thresh, and then okay, for a second I thought the replay crashed. I got hooked by Thresh when I was killing the pink ward, and then so I immediately was like, okay, no, I was snowballing. Like, I need to get right back to that snowball position. So I tried to create something that happened there. You know, I went for a fancy play. I went for the E flash, and then Lucian flashed it, and then it ended up being way too deep, and then I you know, just got obliterated. So you need to really be patient. You know, if you have something go wrong, don't get really hasty, and just you know, play the game out how you've been playing in the way that it's been winning you the game. So I head back mid to get more farm, because as it stands, I don't actually have any real power spikes. I've been kind of getting a little greedy with my build, you know, going Sheen, which gives me a small power spike to kind of continue a snowball, but it's not, it holds back the like main power spike, which is DFG. You know, I have the Fiendish Codex, I have the cooldown boots, so I have all these things that are going to allow me to it's basically you decrease your maximum power, but you increase your frequency of power. So like Sheen procs, you know, are like, you do less damage, but you can do them more often, because you have your Q, you have your E, you have your W, you have spell rotations, but it's less damage than if you had a DFG. You know, cooldown boots aren't necessary because they aren't adding any actual damage. They're just adding frequency of damage. So like you can cover more distance, you can use more sharks, and then you know the Fiendish Codex, you know, is more damage and gives you cooldown reduction too. But with the money from cooldown boots and Sheen, if I didn't buy those, I could potentially be working toward a needlessly large rod into DFG sooner, which is like your maximum damage on one target. So it was kind of a decision I made because I wanted to try and snowball, and you guys can see I spam laugh a lot just because I like to have fun with Fizz, and so I knew I couldn't really defend, you know, this tower with Morgana for very long, so that's why I threw out the shark right away, because I knew I needed to be able to clear that wave for free, and so the only way I was going to be able to E that wave is if I sharked and then, you know, kind of push them off, and then I'd be able to E the wave, and then we would have more time to try and clear this next wave, because I can try and hit the wave when it's kind of out there, and then I wish Morgana would have been using her pool to clear the wave, but she didn't, so we're going to end up losing this tower here pretty soon, I believe. I'm trying my best to provide presence, but then Morgana kind of gets caught out here. She uses her ultimate, she flashes away. And then I eat the culling from Lucian for a while, and then Akali gets really greedy here, so I kind of go fancy feet on her. You know, I jump up, slide through, have the tower hit her a few times, drop the ignite on her, and I'm able to get away after getting, you know, having her die at the hands of the old fish man. So I'm 7-3-2 right now, so right now I'm in a pretty commanding position to try and carry my team, because if you see, the gold is actually pretty much dead even. You know, it's 11-10, 20, you know, 28,000 to about 28,000, no, 29,000, 28,000. So it's pretty equal here, and I've just gotten my DFGs, so this is like my biggest, you know, this is a huge power spike for me, because once you have your DFG, once you have your cooldown boots, and once you have your Sheen, you have pretty much your core kit that you need. At this point, you can decide if you want to go for Lichbane for more damage, you know, and like split pushing potential, or and pick potential, or you can go for Zhonya's, which is going to help you team fight. I believe in this game I go for the Zhonya's next, just because Zhonya's against this team would be really good, and I think it's actually like because of this situation right here, because I realized that Nasus is actually pretty strong, even with being held off so long, and then I end up just kind of Eing into Thresh, so that was just some poor map awareness by me. I think I actually could have gotten away from that situation, and then Morgana is just trying her very best to save this Caitlyn, and then Caitlyn just kind of gets a little greedy. She gets exhausted. Lee Sin comes in with a shield, and Caitlyn, like, oh my gosh, she might as well change her name to Private Ryan, because that was literally the movie script for Saving Private Ryan, and it doesn't stop. Lucian goes in for the culling, and Lee Sin safeguards again and eats up the culling. So Caitlyn just back to back gets her ass saved by my team. So that was some really like impressive stuff. I was really glad to see my team work together so well there, and they were able to save Caitlyn. So you can see, you know, I get my Amp Tome, because Amp Tome can either build into the Wisp, which builds into Lichbane, or it can build into Seeker's Arm Guard, so it still allows me some flexibility. I flash in, I fire off my ulti, you know, and then I do a quick E, because I wanted to get him, because it didn't matter if I slowed him if he was just going to click the lantern anyway. So Rengar actually ults there, and I used my E. I should have waited to use my E until Rengar ulted, because you can actually dodge his damage, but I was just kind of trying to get another kill there. And killing the Thresh isn't really that big of a deal. You know, after they've kind of already gone for their risky stuff, killing the Thresh isn't that big of a deal. But then they end up killing the Akali, and so it was like, okay, that worked out pretty well. And then she's gonna fire off her ulti, and then Lucian lives with like barely any health. And then Morgana's like, no, son, that ain't happening. So she drops the pool down. First tick does, you know, probably like 3/4 of a damage, but it's just enough to kill Lucian. So that was pretty good. And then one thing I really liked is that this Lee Sin, you know, decided, you know, he's got his Elder Lizard, and he's got his Ninja Tabi. Ninja Tabi, not so much, like, that's whatever, but he got the Elder Lizard, and then he built toward Locket. I really like that, because you know, we already have enough damage from Ryze, Fizz, Caitlyn, and even Morgana. You know, Morgana does more damage than the average support. So he really doesn't need to build damage. Plus, when you're going against a team comp of Rengar, Akali, and Nasus, if you build damage, you're just going to get blown up, or your damage is just not going to be that effective, you know? So, like, you're either going to end up trying to kill a Nasus who, you know, it doesn't matter how much damage you do, he's just going to own you, or you're going to just get blown up by a Rengar, you know, who pops out and it's like, surprise, and he drops you with a double QEW face melting, I don't know, you know, and then Akali, of course, you know, will kill you no matter what. And it's kind of funny, because a lot of the time it really doesn't matter how long you keep Akali down. Eventually she'll have that one good team fight where she gets a couple resets. You know, she played the fight well, she'll get a triple kill, and bam, she's back in the game. That's pretty much what's been happening in this game, and I applaud her on her ability to kind of adapt her build here, because she didn't just continue rushing the Gunblade. She actually went for the Zhonya's, which is really, really smart of her, because that's going to allow her to, you know, she'll do 70% of the damage she could have done with Hextech Gunblade, but she'll get to fight twice as long. So, you know, it adds up to being more damage. It's just a little bit slower damage, which, you know, you can't just rely on, you know, insta-bursting someone if, you know, you don't have the instant burst. So, I think at this point, I really, really wanted to split push. Also, I saw them, like, not clear the ward there, and I was like, what are you guys doing? So, I think I wanted to split push here, and I think my team comes to join me in a little bit here, and I was like, what are you doing? No. So this is right here. So my team was telling me to come back and defend, and I was like, why? Like, they're not gonna be able to push against you guys, and Nasus is up top. You guys have nothing to worry about. And they're like, no, you need to come back. You need to come back. You need to come back. And I'm like, okay. Even against my better judgment, because I have a Sheen, I have a cannon minion, so I could have easily gotten this tower. Against my better judgment, I decide to back. But I'm gonna show you guys why if you know what you're doing, just ignore your team sometimes. Look. No pressure, no damage on this tower whatsoever. I should have just stayed, and I would have been able to get that tower, and it would have been really, really easy. But, you know, I was just like, are you serious right now? So I end up getting a Seeker's Arm Guard, because I'm kind of, you know, realizing I don't think my team is going to kind of let me split push, and I'm going to have to win this game through team fighting. And when you're trying to win a game through team fighting as Fizz, you really, really need to get Zhonya's. Zhonya's is kind of your get out of jail free card. It's kind of your how to team fight 101 card. Like, it's everything you need to kind of complete Fizz's kit once you get 40% CDR. I've talked about the Fizz combo about, you know, a million times on stream, on video, etc. You know, you QW, you drop your E, you know, somewhere in there you'll fire off your DFG and your Shark depending on the targets, you know, and then you'll Zhonya's if you're in trouble. If you're not in trouble, you can just continue autoing and using Q and using your E's, etc. And then once you come out of Zhonya's, if you've timed it a little bit, so like if you wait a little bit after your first E, unless like you need to instantly Zhonya's because they have some sort of instant burst, then you use your Zhonya's. The Zhonya's goes off for about 2.5 seconds, and then you'll have about a less than a second window until your E is up again. And then most of the time your Q will be up before your E. So sometimes you'll come out of your Zhonya's and you'll be able to Q something, which will kind of cause them to be like, oh, where did the Fizz go? You know, and then they'll be moving their mouse over, and then by that time you'll have your E up again, and then you'll be able to use, you know, a whole nother set of combos. And then hopefully, you know, in that 7 to 8 second span, you know, which can be increased even more by using Flash or by getting a Guardian Angel, etc. So you end up having like this 12-second combo, as opposed to, you know, you start out, you have like a 3 to 4 second combo, then you get your Zhonya's, and that increases your combo to like 8 to 9 seconds, and then, you know, if you get a GA later, that increases your combo to like 12 to 15 seconds. And this is like I'm talking like flawless combo where you should be pretty much invulnerable, and of course, you know, if a player is good enough, then they can stop that. But in general, you have like, you know, 80-90% invulnerability during these length of combos, and that's kind of like what is great about Fizz. So you know, I pick up the Nasus here, and this was kind of when I was like, okay, so I can turn this fight around, because my team just got 3 of them died, and then you know, we pretty much were like, okay, let's go for it. And that was something I wanted to see. I remember playing the game, and I wanted to see how I actually got killed here. So I remember I killed the Nasus. I probably didn't need to hit him with the DFG, but it was kind of a guaranteed kill here. And so I get exhausted here, and so I think I'm kind of waiting for the exhaust to fade. So I'm like, oh no. And so I actually E here because I needed to close some distance. And Lucian fires off the cuddling, but Caitlyn's right there, so I'm not going to take any damage from that. Luckily, she body blocks, because I think she took a lesson of when you know, the whole team body blocked for her. She fires off that fancy, you know, double lift combo where you use the net and the Q. The hook comes in, barely misses Caitlyn, but I know there's still a really strong opportunity for us to try and get the kill here. You know, the multiple kills here, because our team has already lost the fight, but they didn't lose the fight by very much. So she fires off the ulti. I flash in and Q, because I know the Thresh is going to be dead, so there's no way he can actually protect this Lucian. He gets a good heal off, but it's not enough because I use W, so it's going to give grievous wounds. And then right there, I actually... So what? Okay, so Lucian killed me. Sorry, I wanted to say... So did Lucian have red buff? Is that why? Let's see, yeah, so he had red buff. So it looks like I was let's look at this when I'm... So he fires, shoots me, blah, blah. I E away, blah, blah. I want to see my health here. Okay, so there's the crit. So I get crit like a million times, and then I have red buff ticking away at me. So Akali hit me, and then the red buff ended up killing me. Okay, I was really curious as to what killed me in the moment there, so I apologize for rewinding that, but, you know, these replays aren't just for you guys. I like to go over my replays as well to see if I can, you know, pick up stuff, but yeah, so I got kind of screwed by the red buff there, but, you know, it happens. I got screwed by the crit to crit, you know, and then the red buff as well, but it was you know, it's whatever. You know, when you have Ghostblade and Infinity Edge, there's a decent chance of crit. You know, I think that's like 40%. And then, you know, he might have a crit red as well. So Rengar ends up trying to jump on Caitlyn, and she's just like, you what now? And then she just kind of shot him in the face. And I'll be up here in a second. And what do I end up buying here? So I've got my Zhonya's, so my team fight's going to be a lot better. I've got my DFG, I got my Sheen, got my cooldown reduction. And give me a second, I need to take a drink of my drink. Commentating for 25 minutes can be a little exhausting. So right here I'm just trying to farm because I know, you know, once I get my Lich Bane, it's actually going to make me a lot stronger. I can't, for some reason I'm thinking maybe this game I don't end up getting Lich Bane that early, or like as my next item. I don't remember. Oh, okay, right here I'm like, all right, let's check if I can fight Nasus. And then I instantly realized, you know, already that I'm not gonna be able to fight Nasus because you know, he's got, you know, Banshee's Veil, he's got a Spectre's Cowl, and he's Nasus. But I basically just wanted to get that farm and then get out of there because I knew I could do that at least. There wasn't really a way Nasus was going to be able to kill me, you know, on my own terms through, you know, whether I have to use my ulti, whether I have to, you know, use Zhonya's, whether I have to use, you know, fancy E's or whatever. And luckily Nasus actually was just clicking W on me. He wasn't actually like moving forward and then checking when W was in range. So you saw there, like, he just stopped moving. That happens to Nasus's, it happens to Ryze's, it happens to a lot of champions who just kind of have a skill that's like point and click, you know, kind of like that. And once they're out of range, it doesn't actually use the skill. So I end up dying there by Lucian, but they'll just stop moving. So like you'll see Ryze's chase you as Fizz sometimes, and then you'll drop an E, and then they'll stop moving. It's because they clicked on you with W, and they were just trying to get you with a max rank W. So yeah, Lucian gets a pen skill, so congratulations on that, man. That was pretty cool. And so I was kind of like, well, balls, you know, because I really wanted to win this game, but it wasn't looking too good. So my team is kind of far behind. You know, Caitlyn, you got to realize that Caitlyn has been fighting from, you know, she started the game 0 and 2, so you got to cut her a little bit of slack. You know, the Lee Sin is 1 and 6, but he did provide good presence for the lane. So, like, I know in particular, you know, he provided a little bit of freebie action for my mid lane, so that helped a lot. And then I think we're trying to fight them off here because, you know, when the enemy team overextends a little bit, you want to try and pick up some free gold from, you know, getting kills. And then if you can get enough free kills, sometimes you can pick up an objective right after it. So the Lucian, you know, kind of thought he got away, and then Ryze is going to come up. He's going to cut him off, and then we're like, okay, well, he's in this bush, so there's nothing really he can do here. I can use all my mana. I can use all my skills. As long as I just hit him once, he's going to die. Unfortunately, in that scenario, only one person was going to be able to hit Lucian because he was so low, so we weren't able to, like, really milk the gold out from that by getting an assist. But it was okay because you know, Ryze getting a kill is totally okay, except for the fact that brought his score to 666, you know. But Ryze, you know, 6 item is pretty insane. Fizz 6 item is pretty insane as well. You know, our both teams' late games were pretty good. Of course, you know, we do have a Lee Sin who isn't the best late game. You know, it's not a bad late game, especially since he's going, you know, he's going pretty utility. You know, if he goes Locket and Randuin's and things like that, then, you know, he's still going to be pretty useful. So we make the Baron call here because, we killed Lucian, we killed Rengar. You know, Rengar pretty big, Lucian pretty big. And then Nasus and Akali are actually going to come in here to try and kill Akali. And so Akali gets kicked away by Lee Sin, so my Shark ends up missing. But then she jumps back in and has to Zhonya's my Shark, which was pretty funny to watch. Then Baron is just whacking away at us. And then I use my Zhonya's because I'm like, oh, Baron will kill Akali, you know, in the Baron pit here if I just use my Zhonya's. And plus we didn't have any vision of her, so you know, we end up like, okay, we can get this, and I'm like, please Kate, please tank, Kate, please tank, and then she doesn't tank. So Nasus ends up getting a triple kill. But you know, we got the gold from Baron, and you know, Caitlyn got a Baron buff. I was kind of like, I was just like, why aren't you tanking? Please respond. And then I probably could have just backed out and let Kate finish it off, but you know, hindsight's 20/20. So I end up getting a blasting one. So it is this game, yeah. So I actually build toward a void staff, because if you look at the Akali, she's got an Abyssal Scepter. If you look at the Rengar, he's got the Spectre's Cowl. If you look at Nasus, he has a Spirit Visage and a Banshee's Veil. And then Thresh, I believe, just has the Mikhail's for magic resist. Yeah, 40 magic resist. So they all have a pretty significant amount of magic resist, enough to warrant a void staff. You know, like Rengar, if you look, he's got 150 or 106 magic resist and 150 magic resist when he uses his W. Thresh had 90 magic resist. You know, Nasus is probably gonna have like 6,000 magic resist or something like that. So you know, enough to warrant getting a void staff. So I think at this point I was like 300 gold away from void staff. So yeah, so it was about 300 gold away, and I knew that would really help me, especially in a scenario where for some reason I had to 1v1 Nasus. You know, it's really hard to 1v1 a late game Nasus. One benefit I do have here is that he decided to go for a Last Whisper, and so what this means is that some of his tankiness is dedicated into more damage. So that's like 2,000 gold where he could have tanked up, and he put it into more damage. So this is going to allow me to, if I can dodge a Q or two with E's and Zonias and things like that, then he's going to have less tankiness, so I can hopefully kill him. You know, sometimes it works out better than others, but if he would have made that Last Whisper into you know, some other tank item like a Randuin's or something like that, then he would have lived even longer, and then it wouldn't have mattered, you know, how long I really attacked him, because he would have just stopped me there. So I actually waited in base there for a little bit to get the void staff, which allowed Nasus to get kind of a little bit of a push there. But I knew there was no way I was even going to scratch Nasus if I didn't have void staff. You know, just through the fact that this guy has 202 magic resistance and a Banshee's Veil. So right here I decided to test out my fight prowess against him. So you got to realize that the Banshee's Veil was popped, and so that was a pretty big part of it, was that, you know, we needed to pop the Banshee's Veil. And so I just kind of go in, do a little bit of damage. My Shark did end up actually hitting him. I know it didn't stick, but the outer edge, you know, you could see it push him aside, and if it does that, that means it did do damage. So, you know, I get the Void Staff here, and they're actually on our base right now, and they're like threatening to end the game. So I dropped my E because I was a little worried, because I knew Akali was right there. And then right as I come out of the Zonias, I'm able to hit her with the Q, and I was like, okay, so like, you know, that was a pretty good fight. They got a little bit greedy. They got a little greedy, and then you know, I'm not going to chase down the Thresh because there's no real reason to. And so I'm like, we really need to get something out of this. And I believe, I think it was just like we didn't really have much we could get from this, and I really wanted to push, but you know, sometimes you're just in a position where you really want to push, but there's not much you can do. So I was like, okay, we need to get at least this tower, because we need to put ourselves in a position where next time, you know, we get a fight like this, we can actually push like an inhib tower, or maybe even an inhibitor. So we're able to get the tower. Dragons, they called that dragon was coming up pretty soon, and then you know, that wasn't the case. So we just kind of keep farming and pushing. And this game is still completely undecided. Luckily, you know, we while we are down in gold, we kind of had gold. We have gold on good people. So like, they don't have as much gold on their Akali, but we have a lot more gold on me, Fizz. You know, they have a ton of gold on Lucian, but Lucian. No, wait, no, at this point, Lucian has the Banshee's Veil. So that's like our main thing, is like, if we can kill the Lucian, we'll pretty much be good to go. But if Lucian's Banshee's Veil isn't popped, there's no way I'm going to be able to kill him, you know, before they are able to peel for him. So I'm basically like begging my team, just, you know, pop the Banshee's Veil on Lucian. So they do that there. So it's 45 seconds of Lucian being able to actually be killed. If I get a full combo off on him, I can kill him, because Ryze hit him with the with his E, I don't remember what's Rise E called, Spell Flux, so that was able to pop. It's a pretty easy way to pop the Banshee's Veil because you can just throw it near him and then hopefully it'll pop, and then if it doesn't, you can just try again in like 3 seconds, So Caitlyn sets up kind of an interesting amount of traps here, and so I throw the Shark off. I hit Rengar, who is actually a pretty good target. While he is 1-8, he's got 170 farm, he's built pretty good damage, and he doesn't have a zone yet, so it's going to be a pretty good initiation target, and then we're actually able to catch the Lucian really good here. So I'm going to come out of my zonies here, and I'm going to instantly E. I'm going to land on top of the Lucian. It's going to kill him. And then once the Lucian's dead, you guys got to realize that's 17 of their kills down. So that's basically like, Lucian's worth 2 or 3 people. And I see the Akali over here. I see the kind of free target, and then so I back off to actually kill her. I could have actually stayed and helped the Rise out, but Rise seemed like he was actually doing okay. And then so he's able to kill what's his face, Rengar, or whatever. And so then we start fighting the Nasus, and the Nasus is kind of like, well, I'm a thug beast, and so Nasus ends up killing Rise, but then I have the Void Staff, so I'm actually able to do some damage on him. So we actually win that team fight, not by a lot, but we're able to win the team fight, and we're in the same position where Thresh is the only one that lived, and I'm like, okay, let's push. Like we killed the turret before so that we could get a push off this, but unfortunately I don't actually have like any mana, so it's really hard for me to push. And I don't have a Lich Bane, so it's really difficult for me to really get like a free push. Like if I had 200 mana and a Lich Bane, I could pretty much push a tower just using W procs. Using W's because it's really cheap. It's like 40 mana, I think. Yeah, 40 mana, so I could use a few of those, and then I can get the Lich Bane procs, which would give me like 200 extra damage on the tower. Also, I had bought a Chain Vest before because I didn't want to get instant pop by Rengar somehow. I didn't want to take damage from Lucian, because he's got a bajillion kills, and then Nasus, does physical damage with his Q. So Chain Vest was the reason. I went Chain Vest first for that reason. Plus, Akali was really far behind, so there's no real reason for me to build the Abyssal Scepter part of Guardian Angel first. So, and so I built the Guardian Angel, and so this is when Fizz gets really strong. And then so this is when I have that 10 to 15 second combo as Fizz, and then once I get my Sheen into a Lich Bane, that 10 to 15 second combo increases in strength, by 30 to 50%, because my rotations of spells are all being amplified, by the damage from Lich Bane. So this is kind of an interesting moment here, because it's kind of like a fail followed by another fail, followed by a, well, that turned out better than expected. So we're going to catch the Lucian here, who has just failed his E over the wall. So he actually flashes over, pops the Banshee's Veil with his trap. The Sonic Wave's going to hit Lucian. I'm going to fail my E over the wall here. And so I'm like, well, that's awkward, and so they've pretty much already caught out Lucian at this point, Rise should be able to kill him, but the Mikhail's Crucible actually comes over. Lee Sin is actually going to kick him over the wall. And so I'm like, wait a second. Oh, I totally meant to stay over on this side of the wall. And so I'm going to Q into him. Rise probably could have been able to kill him there, but either way, I was able to guarantee the kill onto Lucian. So it was just kind of like fail, followed by fail, followed by fail. And then like, oh, well, thanks for this silver platter of Lucian, and like I said before, once their Lucian is dead, that's like half their kills that are gone, and half their gold that's gone. So you can pretty much just roll over them as a team once Lucian dies. I honestly think Lucian should have traded out his Berserker Greaves for Mercury Treads, just because, with things like Rise, Snare, Caitlyn, Trap, Morgana, except like Lucian, like our whole team, Mercury Treads would have helped a lot against. So, I throw out a Zoning Shark, which is my excuse for when I miss a Shark. I just say that I'm using it for zoning, even though, I would say about 10% of the time I say I'm sending a Zoning Shark, it's just because I missed the Shark. So I tried to kill the Akali coming out of her Zonias, but unfortunately I wasn't able to. And then so she kills the Caitlyn, and then her GA pops, and then we're like, okay, wait for it. And then we kill the Akali, and then we're pushing the base here. And then I'm like, okay, you want to go, Lucian? Like, let me fire off all my skills here. And then I remember that he has Banshee's Veil, he has Heal, and he has a Thresh. And so it's actually pretty difficult to kill the Lucian, but we're able to kill him again. So if you take note, he was like 17 and 5 at one point, and now he's 17 and 8. So that was 3 back-to-back times where Lucian had died without really getting much done. So unfortunately, he was put in a position to carry and he wasn't able to carry. I was put in a position to carry and I was able to carry. And so I kind of like this game because you know, my bot lane was losing, you know, decently. My top lane was going pretty even, you know, and then with a little bit of influence, it was able to help. And then I was able to win a lane that I normally have a little bit of trouble with. So there isn't much length left to this game, I believe. There's only like 2 minutes left. So if you guys could do me a favor, if you've watched all the way up to this point, definitely if you could leave me a like rating, you know, share, comment what you thought about the video, comment your your ideas, your thoughts. Also, do you like that little shark there where I put so when Nasus spawns, it's gonna stick to him and then eat him up. Because Nasus was trying to go for that back door, and we were like, yeah, that's not gonna happen. So we're gonna kill you. And so also, if you guys could check out my Twitter, you know, twitter.com/doublewinning. Follow me there. And, you know, if you don't have a Twitter, I do suggest creating one. It's the best way to interact with me, you know, when I'm not live streaming. Which, if you guys want to check out my live stream, it's twitch.tv/doublewinning. I play more than just League on there. So if you guys have been seeing me upload content that isn't League of Legends, it's probably coming from my live stream. But it's really fun interacting with you guys, talking with you guys. You know, I have a lot of loyal fans there who really enjoy the broadcast, and it's a really good way to connect with me, you know, on an instant basis, as opposed to, you know, just leaving a comment and then or like contacting me on Twitter or Facebook or something like that, and then, you know, having to wait for a reply. Which, you know, also if you like me on Facebook, I would really appreciate that as well. And then you know, you can join my Steam community group, you know, which is just double winning on Steam group or whatever. But you know, there's lots of ways to keep up in contact with me. There's lots of ways to keep up with all things double winning. But, you know, most of all, I just appreciate all the support you guys have given me. You know, we're almost at 14,000 subscribers on YouTube. You know, we're like 50 away or something like that. So, you know, I do want to say I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate, you know, the love you guys have given me. I know, you know, I haven't been uploading just, you know, I've been uploading a lot of non-league related content, and I know, you know, some of you guys aren't too happy about that, but, you know, bear with me. You know, I'm not going to stop playing League, and I'm not going to stop uploading League content, but I've been having a lot of fun playing other games. So, you know, I love your faces, and I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, guys, stay classy. And just keep winning. Like, seriously, like I don't ask a whole lot of you guys. Just, you know, stay classy and keep winning. And then, you know, throw a shark at the ground, you know, when you're winning a game. So, GG. I will catch you guys later. Bye.